still get this going. All right, so we'll say it's okay to be recorded, and we'll start from there. So again, thank you. This was not meant to be a training that is just direct to you, meaning that we have something we need to share with you only. We want you to definitely share your experiences, especially what's been going well, especially those things you'd like to see us improve upon. Myself, Tara, and Barb are definitely on the ground with you. We want to be able to make those changes. And then Sandra's here because of course she's very much invested in what we're all doing in the market. And so you have our attention. So without further ado, so let's see here, some housekeeping. Remaining on mute is good until you want to speak. If you want to share something, and if you're savvy enough to raise the Zoom hand, you can. If you don't know where that is, just raise your hand and we can do that. If you know where the chat is and can type, go ahead and type something in. And if you want to write it on a piece of paper, that works too. We're super flexible today. And so another housekeeping item would be if for some reason you're not hearing us, so for those of you who don't have video on, if you're not hearing us, let us know somehow, I guess, if you can see me. And so so let's go into some of the important things that we want to communicate today. We do want to cover some of our goals for 2024. Obviously, there are some changes happening every day, both in who's accessing the market and how we're stocking the market. One overarching feeling that everyone has is that we don't have enough food. And so quickly, I wanted to let you all know that we feel we feel your pain when you're walking around with someone and there isn't enough food to fit in the basket. We also want you to know that we want that to improve. We are continuously surprised, which is how many new individuals are coming into the market every day. This morning, I was on a call with the Denver migrant response team. And what I hope to learn from that call is just what other efforts are going into helping our new neighbors. We are finding that many of the new people coming in are somehow related to the influx of migrants in and around the city of Denver. Not everyone, though. And so it is true that every pantry is facing this increasing demand and decrease in supply. And just to let you know, it's kind of it's a tricky problem. So for instance, sharing with Sheridan, who is a mile away from us, was allowing people to shop every week. They can no longer afford to do that. They don't have enough money to supply food every week. You know that well. We are going to move to once a month come January. If you all can put the pieces together, that means people who were already struggling to find food are actually going to have a harder time finding that food because we're all cutting our services because there isn't enough to go around. Hopefully, all of those who help fund food pantries will hear this call and will help us provide more food. Now we're going to implement some strategies to alleviate that. I'm not sure if we will move to twice a month in 2024 at any time, but if we get enough money or enough donation that truly fits the need, then maybe at the very end of the year, we would be able to move to twice a month. But what you all should be prepared for is that the once a month is a way for us to maintain a program. And so we had a similar conversation last year, and then we were able to increase it. And so we do hope that can happen again. But last year, we did not know that we would have so many new individuals coming in. One thing we would do when we were in person is kind of talk about what's going well. And I see something in the chat, hold on. Yeah, so that's a really good question, Eric. So if people are asking why we're moving to once a month, if you remember from last time, we are spending, so to serve all the families would be somewhere around $30,000 a month, probably more. We only have 14. 14,000. Now we're trying very hard through donation, through the TFAP program to meet that need. So real quickly, I would say to a participant, you know, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of actual money to purchase food to keep this going. Unfortunately, we just don't have enough of it to allow you to shop every or twice a month. And I think that would be the quickest answer. Now, after this training or you know, after this conversation, maybe you can add to that. But I think at the very basic level, there just isn't enough right now to make sure everyone's going home with an adequate amount of food. And so that's what we've been seeing, you know, the last couple weeks. Now, there are many things to celebrate, though, going into 2024. So one of the things I want to highlight that was mentioned in previous trainings is people, volunteers especially, have said that the market, having bilingual resource navigators has really improved what we're doing in the market. It's really improved people's understanding of how we're operating. It's improved just who's in the household and what the needs are, and it's really cleaned up that data. It's also created a space where people can come and freely talk and share their need and know that it's being communicated to someone who understands the language that they know. More and more individuals coming in who speak Spanish require someone on the other end to speak Spanish. So we've implemented the physical people, the resource navigators, to do that work. We also have our technology available. We have the Google Translate tablet that you can use. We have, you know, your own personal devices you can use. And then Tara created the list of common phrases, and we're working on getting a phonetic translation so that you don't need to fully understand the sounds in Spanish, and so you could speak those words to the folks you're working with, and really have a good interaction. Right now, I do want to open it up. Does anyone else want to share other things that they feel have been going really well, whether it was earlier in the year or it's happening right now? You can, you know, raise a hand or put something in the chat. And that's okay too. So here, I'll keep going with what we hope to do here moving forward. So I want to build on some of what we found had gone well. So here, I'm going to share my screen, and when I do that, I can't see the chat. So Tara's going to help me with this next part. So let me do. Okay. So now you all should see a screen, correct? Someone give me a thumbs up. Yes. Okay. I saw a shaking of the head. So the market at IFCS, which by the way is a great logo. We now have it out in front of the building on top of the green awning. I think it really catches people's attention. So the market at IFCS in 2024 is inviting our neighbors to shop for nutritious food and to connect with supportive services. If there could be a tagline or an overarching goal, that would be what it is. We really truly are inviting our neighbors to come in. If someone is at home and they do not have enough food available, if going to the store to purchase that food would mean they can't pay another bill, we want them to come in. So it is always important that when we see people coming in, that we are glad they chose to walk through our door. Todd tells a story of an individual who was sitting in their car, deciding whether or not they wanted to come in. And I think about that, and I think about the choice that person was facing for a reason known to them. They didn't want to make that choice to come in. And so we know that if you need food or if receiving food will help you in other ways, you should come in. So I always like to tell people, you know, come on in. You never know what we're going to have. We could have meat. We could have butter, which I just placed an order for. We could have, we could have really good food that, would really help you out. And so why don't you come on in and just check us out? It is true that if they come in and it's not something they want to do, they're welcome to leave. Or if they come in and the food selection for the day is not exactly what they were hoping for, we can, delete that visit. But so I want you all to kind of keep that in your mind, that coming to a food pantry may be something that is has become a regular occasion for some families, but it is not for others. And so you're there to really make them feel welcome. And when I say neighbors, I'm specifically saying whoever finds their way to IFCS. We know that people are traveling from Thornton. We know that people are coming in from parts even farther away. I'm not sure how they got to Englewood, but they're here, and so we'll help them out. It is true that if they drove directly from Thornton or Aurora all the way over to us, they passed many other food pantries. So the hope would be that they maybe visited another program, or they visited, another service or a family member down here, and that hopefully they did not drive all the way over to IFCS just to get food. But what I said earlier, with everyone cutting service down to maybe once a month, the truth may be that people have to drive further to get food. So how are we going to make that trip from Aurora worthwhile? And that's what's coming up next. So let me go to the next. All right. So on your screen, you see fulfilling once a month shopping. So if we're going to offer once a month food assistance, we need to make it worth your while, and worth their while. Barb and I were working on an adequate limit. So when we have enough product, then we can really set those color codes, those shapes to be more reflective of the family receiving food. Right now, when we have a limit of 1, it's a reflection of the supply, not of the demand. And so the goal in 2024 is to find a way to make those limits more responsive. Well, how we're going to do that is what I've titled a balanced variety of food, and identifying crucial items. So we found that having, let's say, 20 items on the shelves is really hard to keep stocked. We need to have 100 of each item a day, if not more, if we're talking about limits. We need to store that somewhere. So that's 20 times 100 times whatever, and we're running out of space. So if we cut back on the number of items we give out, but increase the actual product count of each item, maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to make that trip down from Aurora more worthwhile. That's what we're going to try to do. We're going to test it, and there will be some bumps in the road, but we're going to test cutting back on the variety to offer the staples, the most crucial items that people really come to us for, like the frozen proteins, and hopefully increase what people can get. Now, that's not it. Some of you have heard me talk about that I went to a training and I learned about food waste, and I learned that families in Southwest Denver agreed to have researchers go through their trash, and whether they were food insecure, so maybe needing a program like a food pantry, or food secure, able to go to the grocery store and buy whatever food they needed, each household threw away large amounts of edible food. And so this is a challenge I did not expect. But so part of our role here at the food pantry is the balance, not only giving out, a good amount of food, not to last a month, but a good amount of food, but to make sure when we give it out, it does not go to waste, or try to put in that protection. And so again, there is not a perfect science. Food Bank of the Rockies, Denver's Office of Food and Communities, and some other major players like Metro Caring are coming together to talk about how food pantries can help make every trip in the food pantry a success for the family that's here. And so what it may mean is that we have to balance our fresh foods, our refrigerated foods, our frozen foods, and our shelf stable, so that not everything needs to be consumed right away. People love fresh produce, but it may mean cutting back on the amount. And I know right now it's kind of scarce, but but it may be really keeping track of what fresh produce is going out so that it doesn't contribute to that food waste. Before I move over to how we're going to stock the market, are there any questions? Again, I can't see the chat or anything.
I don't see anything right now, Allison.
All right. So viable monthly procurement. And I chose that word specifically. Viable. What can we actually do? What is most helpful? What contributes to an efficient and effective use of your time as a volunteer workforce and our time as a paid workforce? Well, Todd secured for us $14,000 a month to spend on food, only food. And so we're going to use that. We're going to use that to get the items we can't get from donated sources, or through donation or through the government program. Now, I think most of you, if not all of you, are familiar with the letters TEFAP. You'll hear Barb and Tara call it TFAP. You'll hear Barb and Tara say, do this, do that, do this with TFAP. We're very strict about this food. And you need to know there's a reason why. So here, if we backtrack a minute, that $14,000 at best will give us $1 a pound. So with 14,000, we'll get 14,000 pounds of food at best. So that means the 20,000 pounds of TFAP is like having another $20,000 in food every month. So we need to do everything in our power to make sure we're implementing TFAP correctly, that we're abiding by their rules, that when they come to audit us, we have great scores, because we are, in a way, it's a privilege to have TFAP. It is not something every pantry can receive, but it's also not something every pantry wants to receive. And I'm going to go into that after I talk about produce and donated product. It's a balancing act that Barb does. It's not that it's just point and click order and have it delivered. We don't always know what we're getting, sometimes until the last minute. And so we're trying to prepare a market every day for that. The no-cost produce and the donated product are two areas where we almost have no control over what we're getting. We know we get 2 pallets of produce on Tuesday. We know some of it will be good, but today the strawberries were moldy, so we had to throw those away. The carrots we're going to put out, but they are covered in dirt. Now, dirt can be clean, but we obviously were hoping for something different. Other days, it's the opposite. Some days we get a ton of one product and very little of another. So again, we're trying really hard to maintain product, but in reality, we don't have much control. Even TFAP is the list of food we can choose from is given to us a week in advance. And so again, it's not a lot of time. So that the money, the $14,000 a month really gives us that ability to fill in the cracks, if you will, to fill in those gaps of what we need. And then that brings me to donated product. I am on one side of the coin and others are on that other side. I do appreciate donated product, and we will continue to get donated product from individuals, from companies. But I do want to stress that donated product is sometimes a win, and sometimes it's a lot of work. And so as some of you are finding when we're sorting through food, well, Tara did it the other day, or someone did. They opened up another can of peanut butter and it was already eaten. It was already a scoop out of it. Sandra did that same experiment 2 years ago or what have you, and it had been eaten. So watch the peanut butter is one training lesson for today. But also, donated product cannot fill the shelves. We're serving 100 families a day, so we need 100 of some item or like item to even get through the day, let alone the week. And then we have to go through it and process it, because again, what if that jar of peanut butter got to someone's house? We monitor our Google reviews, and that would be quite the terrible Google review. The same thing could be said, and I know we go back and forth on this with many volunteers, but we've chosen as an organization not to put expired food on the market shelf. It's available down at the end, but that's because we want to offer our best product first, our best foot forward, and allow others to choose whether or not that expired or past its best by is right for their family. Again, if it is, we want them to take it, but we don't want it to be forced on someone. We want people to trust what it is we're giving out. So now I'm going to come back to TFAP. And I guess before I do, any questions?
Yeah, there's a couple questions in the chat. Eric said, is the TFAP coming in based on weight or dollar value?
So that's a good question, Eric. It actually, the 20,000 is an estimate of what we receive over, I took averages. To be honest, some months we get 20,000 pounds, some months we get 10. I'm not sure, it's based on how many people we're serving. So say TFAP as an agency gets in 100,000 pounds of meat. They then distribute that to the pantries who are partners based on participation. So we do get a big chunk of it. And last time I checked, we were one of the top 10 recipients in all of Metro Denver to get TFAP. But I think it's that same game, right? They know what's coming in, or maybe they only know a week ahead of time, and then they're doing their calculations to figure out who gets what. So it averages to be 20,000 pounds. It's not guaranteed, but that's kind of what I calculated.
And then Shelly asked, can the updated diaper program be explained? And that was the end of her question, but maybe you can also talk about hygiene while answering that question.
Yeah. So and I get it. I get this question, and I wish we could offer non-food items on the regular. Unfortunately, the money I'm talking about can't be spent on anything but food. And donations, we are pushing for hygiene products, personal care items. Diapers are one of those items. We do not have a steady stream of diapers. Food Bank Other Rockies sells diapers. They do not donate diapers. WeCycle has a 2-year wait list, which I was previously on already. And so I think it's a 4-year wait list. And so it's our lane, if you will. The area we're really able to make an impact is with food. Everything else is a bonus, unfortunately. So we are trying to transition food drives that maybe wouldn't exactly get what we were hoping for, those hundreds of cans or hundreds of items, to personal care, because what Barb's going to do is she's going to highlight one item a month. So 1 month it'll be soap, 1 month it'll be shampoo, in a hope to just make that distribution more consistent and more equitable as much as we can. So I hope I answered your question about the diaper program, in that we just have so little to give out.
Did that answer your question, Shelly?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. So I want to come back to TFAP. So because TFAP is such a large part of our program, and we do enjoy TFAP in the office and their their advice and what have you. There are a couple new rules coming out, and I didn't write this down because Tara's gonna put it up nicely next to the tablet. But I wanted more to tell you that come January 2021, for reasons that were explained to me, and I don't really have a good answer, we are required to ask everybody coming into the food pantry if they have a pitcher ID. Does not need to be issued by a U.S. government authority. Could be a foreign government, could be a library card, could be anything with their picture on it. So we're going to ask. But TFAP also said if someone does not have an ID, if they left it in their car, if they don't want to give it to you, if they say, nope, I don't want to give you my ID, you say, okay, that's all right. We're still going to give you food. So you guys hear me out. So we're going to ask, we're required to ask, but no one is required to show it. And so that's a new thing we're going to do. The reasons I was given for that were because of food recall communications. I was told that food recall is important. We want to make sure who we gave the food to is the correct person, so that in the event of food recalls are serious, that we would contact the right person. At the same time, resource navigators are going to ask if people have something with their address on it. At the same time, if someone does not, if they left it in their car, or if they do not want to show it, we will still proceed. And again, the reason I was given for that was for food recall. Now, I only say that caveat because I don't really know what the reason is. To me, as a program director of a food pantry, I don't understand it. We're trying not to build barriers to receive food, because we know it can be so hard for someone to get here anyway. So I don't necessarily agree with asking. What Jessica has told me is that people are okay if we ask, and that she's glad it doesn't have to be a requirement that they show it. But so what I want you all to know is people are going to ask you, why do I need to show you my ID? And I kind of want you to take this route of, I'm a volunteer. This is what they told me was required. I can tell you that you're going to get food no matter what. And maybe you two laugh about it. Like, that seems like a waste of effort. And again, I think most people will show it to you, and we'll do a good job of making sure everyone can, translate that in Spanish. But again, I want you to know it's not required. And if someone chooses not to show it to you, or if they left it in the car, I really want you, this is that customer service piece, to let them know it is okay. If it's in your car, leave it in your car. Show it to us next time. We do not want anyone to feel like they've done something wrong because they have not shown that ID. And so I'll pause. Are there any questions here?
Sorry. Dennis just asked, what about people who shop for their neighbors, which gets into your next point, Allison.
Oh, I'm so happy you asked that, Dennis. So likewise, and this is a good policy we're going to implement. We had it a long time ago before the pandemic. It's called a proxy form. And so beginning February 2024, those who are shopping for their neighbors will have to have a piece of paper signed by their neighbor that says, Allison can shop for me. That piece of paper will be recorded in certain ways on Link to Feed. And so when they come in the shop, it'll show a proxy name. And so when they show you their ID, what I've been told is that the proxy's name will come up. We are going to have to test that. But what you need to know is that in January, anyone who typically shops for another household will be given that piece of paper. They can still shop for that household in January, but in February, they're going to have that signed. The piece of paper is pretty simple. It hopefully will not stop anyone from filling it out. It doesn't ask too much information. It really just is a permission slip, I would call it. And so we'll still allow people to shop. We'll still follow that same procedure, but before they do in February, they'll have to have that piece of paper signed. All right. Anything more, Tara?
I don't see any questions right now.
All right, I'm going on to the next two. So improving food security. You heard me mention that before, and that's really another way of saying that we're alleviating hunger. It's a very positive way of saying, that's the goal. We're trying to provide a family or an individual, whoever's in the household, with a reliable source of food, even though it's a charitable program.
Allison, Rich had a question real quick
Yeah.
before we move on. He said, when clients show us a picture ID or not show it, do we record that somewhere?
No. So I think that's a good question. No, we don't have to say if they showed it or not. I think those of us at the tablet, maybe it'll help you write their name down on the checklist. Maybe if something's spelled incorrectly, they can go see a navigator. But no, the checking of the ID is just between the tablet individual or it could be the resource navigator and the person shopping. There's no other record of it. All right, good question. So thinking about food security and about being that reliable source of food, food pantries can't do it all by ourselves. We're not the answer to doing that. So alone, we cannot improve food security in a family, in a household, in an individual. So many other factors come into play. You'll see we'll have partners, individuals from Food Bank of the Rockies or Benefits in Action come in to sit at a table. Their hope is that they're signing people up for government nutrition programs, which is the term for things like SNAP or food stamps, things like WIC, other programs that may be available to a family that's shopping at IFCS. We're not the expert in SNAP. We're not the expert in signing people up for that type of benefit. So we're inviting our partners in to do that. We've been doing it in 2023, and what I'm hoping for in 2024 is to better connect our two services. Everyone has their own approach. Sitting at a table and waiting for someone to come to you is one. Standing up and walking around is another. Both may give you zero respondents, right? Both may still have the effect of no, I'm not interested. So we're going to try to build on that. We're going to try to have more people in the market doing that work in hopes that you have more respondents. But we're also going to explore what resource navigators can do to ensure that everyone has at least tested the waters, they've at least seen, can I or my children apply for a program? Maybe the parent cannot, but maybe the child can. And with the child applying or the main applicant, the whole family can benefit. Internally to the organization, we do have short-term financial assistance, and the one that is dependable is our utility bill payment assistance. I would love for all of you to share this with those coming in. Hey, do you have a utility bill? Is it getting high? Have you ever tried applying for help? IFCS can give you $1,000, maybe $2,000 towards it. You should go online and sign up. And so what it is, they go to a Google form on our website. Everything's on our website. They fill it out, and then Jessica and her team gets back to them. And within a week, if they have a past due bill, we can usually pay it. For some people, it's up to $2,000. And so that's a great benefit. You all have paid for that program. If you're an Excel customer, at the end of your statement is about a 25-cent charge. For some people, it's 75 cents. And so you've paid into a program that now has over $1 million available to our clients. IFCS administers that program, and I would say on a weekly basis, we're approving 20 individuals. Now, why would people need a $2,000 payment? Those reasons vary. I want you all to know, I forgot to mention this in the other group, Tara. I want you all to know that if you rack up a bill, a utility bill for whatever reason, and you pass away, the adult who last lived in your home under your care is responsible. And I don't quite understand how this all works, but it is true that utility bills don't just disappear. Next of kins end up having to pay. Anyone who ever lived in the home and benefited from that utility, who is related to the person who is on the account, ends up paying. Long story short, some of the people coming in have just had, a bad situation, a bad circumstance. And one of them is that someone passed away and they are now gifted this pretty large utility bill. Other times, people's homes are pretty inefficient. And so the heat is just going right out the door. And then other times people are choosing to pay a different bill and not their utility bill. Excel, by the way, is notorious for letting bills get quite high. The highest we've seen is $10,000 owed. And so you may ask yourself how that happens. But in other news, just a little side note, if you have core electric, once you owe one bill, you get shut off right away. So also where you live determines how your utilities are managed. So anyway, so I want you to communicate that we have this ability to pay utility bills, and hopefully in 2024 we'll have an increased capacity to pay rental assistance. I hesitate because these programs have been so hard to secure and so hard to manage. The funding, I got to be honest with you, is just not there. The funding is just not there to provide rental assistance. We're trying, we're applying everywhere. We'll see what we can do. As of right now, we've secured one program that will help pay rent for one family a month. And we really had to, for lack of a better term, kick and scream to get that money. And so we're going to keep trying. And when it becomes available, you'll know. We'll announce something for you to share with those shopping. But I just want you to know we do hope to implement these programs, but the funding just isn't. It's just not there. The last program I want to mention is our Health and Wellness Connection. So it's kind of a quiet program, but those who use it often. If someone lives in the area of Englewood Rec Center, or the South Suburban Rec Center district, which is quite large here in our southern service area, if they come shopping at the market, they can also get free access to the rec center. And it's more than just open gym. For those of you who maybe know can visualize what I'm talking about, it's more than just going in and using the weight machines. It's also classes for your children to learn how to swim, classes throughout the year for your children after school, or for yourself after school, adults and children alike. This is a very popular program for those who utilize it. We do have capacity to continue to share this program. It does have specific eligibility requirements, which are that you live in a certain area. But what I want you to know is just tell the person you're shopping with, check out our website, which translates into Spanish or Russian or any language they prefer, and they can sign up. And the best thing to do is fill out an interest form. The worst thing to do is to think you're not eligible and self-select out of a program that maybe could have benefited. And so that's what we're hoping that you help us with, so that we can spread these other services that we offer, but that seem tricky in many ways to communicate. So let me pause. How are we doing, Tara?
So Patty responded to our EOC payments as that's awesome. And then Eric said, do you have a bilingual handout available for the utility assistance program and other programs?
Yeah. So I appreciate that, Eric. And one thing that I think we could do, and I can talk to Jessica, is have a better flyer for our own services. You just made me think we do promote other people's services on our wall of pamphlets. We don't necessarily promote our own, so we can get on that. The other thing I would say is our website is kept up to date constantly. Sometimes you go to a website and things are outdated, not ours. Ours is up to date. And so if ever at a lack of, what to do, give them our website, because then that'll also, get them to actually to the form to fill out. But yes, I'm gonna write that down. Hold on one second.
Alice, I do also want to remind you, we have the rack cards that are in English and Spanish, and those have our programs on them, or tell people to go to our website. So those are at navigation. And Eric said, I wonder how many of our clients have web access. We do encourage people to go to the library or give us a call. We do have administrative volunteers. I believe Denise is on this call, and she will sometimes over the phone fill out those interest forms and help people do things online. And then we also, of course, encourage people to go visit a library. Many librarians are very happy to help people.
Oh, and I have an update a lot about libraries too. Thank you for that, Tara. Also about the pamphlets. I think I wanted to mention we try to be what some people call evergreen here, so that we don't have to keep updating paper. And when we make a mistake, oh, and you got to put stickers on things, it's kind of a well, anyway, it's a big task. But so yes, we have those pamphlets on the wall, so feel free to grab one of those. And then a thing I just learned, which I thought I knew, but more and more libraries are extending their Wi-Fi access to the parking lot. So whether you go to a library when it's open or if you're there in the evening, it is there for people to use. It's being extended to that parking lot. Sheridan also said that the light posts in the parking lot have outlets, and so technically you could plug into the light posts. I had never tried that, but next time you're in a library, maybe check it out. And so yeah, so that those are things that are happening across. I know for sure Arapahoe libraries have that web, the Wi-Fi in the parking lot. And so, okay, well here, I'm gonna talk about the orange box and then I'll, you know, we can all look at each other again. But 2024, again, we wanna build on those things that have been going well, but really also improve all the things we like doing every day. You all like coming in. I assume because you like working with people. I assume because you like moving heavy things. But I know it's because you like working with one another. And so let's improve on that. Let's increase our efficiency and effectiveness. And let's do that through responsive policies and practices. And so efficiency and effectiveness for every minute you're with us. I hope that we're putting you to good use. You know, part of the plan to cut back on the amount of variety of food is so that maybe we don't move it so often. When we talk about responsive policies, many times we're talking about our community, but I also want you to know we're talking about our volunteer core. And so we want you to continue to share things that you see that you would like to change. We are here to listen to your feedback. We will implement changes. You know, we'll talk about it as a team and we'll implement some changes. Because we want you to not only feel welcome in our space, but also comfortable working in our space. And the same is true for those who are coming in the shop. And so here I'm gonna.
And then I'm also gonna jump in on the feedback. We love feedback, and we do implement changes based on feedback. I do have QR codes on the bulletin board, both by Barb's office and in the administrative office, and it has a link for feedback. I'm also gonna send that link out after this training to get feedback on this training and how things went for you and any questions you have. But definitely anytime you have questions or feedback, definitely feel free to talk to me, talk to Barb. But it's really great to get things in writing. So if you want to do the online form, that's also super helpful.
And then I lost her from my screen. Where's Sandra? I know Sandra likes to. Oh, there you are down there.
You're on mute.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for being here, giving us your time outside of your assigned shift. It means so much to have you helping us make an impact in the community, and just know that we would not be as successful as we are if it was not for your dedication and continued support for IFCS. So just a note that when the shelves are empty, we know that the shelves are empty. And I do hear that often. And just know that we are working as hard as we can to provide the items that we think our participants are going to need. So thank you in helping us, again, make this wonderful impact on those folks who just, you know, depend on us just to live. So thanks a lot. Have a wonderful holiday, you guys. Thanks.
And then we have about 15 more minutes if anyone has any other questions, thoughts, concerns. Either unmute and shout them out or type them in the chat. We'd love to continue to hear from you.
Oh, thank you, Patty. And I guess Tara too, I mean, we could end early too. That would be okay. All right. Well, we'll let you all go. Again, thank you so much. If I'm gonna see you later in the week, I'll see you later in the week. And if not, just like Sandra said, have a happy holiday.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Take care.